Once you receive your WaterMax pulse pump system and it has been properly placed and installed on the recommended concrete pad, it is important to do a walk around of the station and make sure no damage has occurred during transit. Before opening up the WaterMax pulse pump system, it is important to notice the pre-installed holes on the lid and front panel. This allows you to install a lock to prevent any unauthorized access or vandalism to the pump station. We are now going to access the inside of the pump system, and we'll first start by raising the lid to the upright position. Once fully upright, the lid will lock in place automatically for your safety. We'll then move to the front panel where there is a thumb screw on the left side and the right side. We will simply back the thumb screws out with no tools required and remove the front panel. So I will start with first the left side, then go to the right side, grab the front lip, raise the panel up, set it to the side, which now reveals all the contents on the inside. Once inside the station, you will notice a white storage pocket over on the right side panel. Accessing the contents of that storage pocket reveal a schematic, quick start guide, a blue data cable that allows you to separate the keypad from the controller for handheld use, along with a set of concrete anchor bolts that allows you to install the station base to a concrete pad. For the remainder of the video, you will follow a step-by-step setup process that is fully detailed within the Quick Start Guide. It is important to familiarize yourself with all station components prior to setup. Utilize the QR code provided on the front of the Quick Start Guide to access the PSN Startup Report. You should also familiarize yourself with the station keypad, as this will be your navigation window to setting up the station control and functionality. The standard configuration for a WaterMax pulse pump system is to be operated in booster applications. However, with the purchase of a separate suction lift kit, it can also then be operated in suction lift applications. It is important to note that if operating as a suction lift, the check valve installed on the inlet piping must first be removed and replaced with the items included in the suction lift kit. Before you begin the wiring process on your pulse pump system, it is important to realize that you will be working with higher voltage power and that your safety is of utmost importance at all times. And you should always have the schematic in hand for reference during the entire process. To access the internals of the power box, you must first release the middle latch over on the right side, followed by swinging the door open, which reveals the disconnect handle underneath, which must be in the off position. Next, release the latches on the top and bottom to open the door, which reveals the components on the inside. There's a main disconnect, distribution block, transformer, and various fuse blocks. You'll see that finger guards are in place. Those finger guards should never be removed during normal station operation. Depending on which pulse model you purchased, it can either be operated on 208 volt and 230 volt, single or three-phase, or 460 volt three-phase. In this example, we are working with a 208, 230 volt system. This configuration always comes with the transformer pre-wired from the factory at 230 volt. Should your application require 208 volt, you will need to remove the finger guards and swap the wire from 230 volt to the 208 volt terminal. For the 460 volt pulse station variant, the 460 volt terminal on the transformer will already be connected at the factory, so there is no need to do anything further. To bring power to the station, you must use the appropriate conduit and fittings that are recommended to be installed at the lower right corner of the box. As the wiring is being brought in through the conduit, it should be routed tightly along the inside right of the box and landed on the upper terminals of the power disconnect switch. In this example, we have wired the system for 230 volt three-phase power, which utilizes all three disconnect modules. However, if your system only needs single-phase power, you would remove the fuse from the right side module and store for future use. Finally, we need to properly ground the system by landing the ground lead in the provided terminal at the lower right corner of the box. If you are using the pulse in a suction lift application and choose to use a float switch, terminal connections will be found at this location within the power box. With the internal wiring complete, we can close the door and secure the latches. Given that our plumbing and wiring are now complete, we can go ahead and power up the pump station by rotating the disconnect handle to the on position. Once the station is powered up, go ahead and close the disconnect cover door and properly secure the latch. It is now recommended that paddle locks are placed on all the latches for safety. It is now time to make your station field plumbing connections. There is a 2-inch threaded connection on the intake and a 2-inch threaded connection on the discharge. And again, if operating as a booster, do not remove the check valve on the intake side. With the station now powered up, you want to verify there is power at the VFD controller, followed by removing the label from the VFD keypad, which is instructing you to use the quick start guide to help you through the rest of the proper setup. Before beginning any control setup, you must first verify that the VFD is in the off state. If not, this can be accomplished by selecting the red off key. To establish the pressure regulated set point, begin by selecting menu, pump, and PSI regulated set point. Once on the screen, you will see that the value is 0. Use the right arrow key and enter a value using the arrow keys to your desired setting. In this example, we'll use 50 psi. Once the 50 is entered, hit save. Be sure to hit save again. And now your pressure regulated set point has been established. The WaterMax Pulse booster system includes 3 starting methods. Pressure drop start, which is noted on the screen as start below PSI, flow start, which is noted on the screen as start above GPM, and remote relay start, which is noted on the screen as start remote relay. The factory default is pressure drop start, which is set to 10 psi below the regulated set point. If this is your desired starting method, there is no further action required. You are able to set up more than one starting condition, but please understand that you must satisfy all starting conditions before the pump station will be allowed to start. If you do wish to change the pressure drop start set point from the factory default of 10 psi, do so by selecting start below PSI, followed by selecting the right arrow key, changing the value to your desired setting. In this case, we'll use 15 as an example, selecting save, and then selecting save again. To set up flow-based start, begin by selecting start above GPM, selecting the right arrow key, establishing a value of 5 GPM, followed by selecting save, and selecting save again. If operating in a suction lift application, flow start cannot be used. If using the remote relay starting and stopping capabilities, the connections must be made inside the power box. Terminal connections will be found at this location within the power box. To set up remote start relay, select Start Remote Relay, followed by selecting Yes and selecting Save. There are 4 stop conditions available. Stop below frequency, which appears on the screen as stop below hertz. Stop below current, which appears on the screen as stop below amp. Flow stop, which appears on the screen as stop below GPM. And finally, remote relay stop, which appears on the screen as stop remote relay. Unlike the starting methods, it is important to note that the station can only use one stop condition. If you turn on a condition and later want to switch to a different condition, you must deactivate the original condition set by changing the value to 0 and no for remote start relay. The factory default is stop below GPM. If this is your desired stopping method, there is no further action needed. To set up frequency stop, begin by selecting stop below hertz, followed by selecting the right arrow key and establishing your desired value. In this case, we'll use 40 as an example. Once entered, select Save, followed by selecting Save again. To set up Stop Below Current, begin by selecting Stop Below Amp, followed by selecting the right arrow key and establishing your value. In this case, we'll use 2 amps as an example. Once the value is entered, select Save, followed by selecting Save again. The controls are already factory default to flow stop, but if you wish to deactivate it, begin by selecting Stop Below GPM, followed by selecting the right arrow key and changing the value to 0. Then selecting Save and selecting Save again. To set up Remote Relay Stop, begin by selecting Stop Remote Relay, selecting Yes, followed by selecting Save. At any point during operation, should a system fault occur, the keypad will begin flashing, indicate what the fault is, along with a red LED light. There will also be a red light illuminated on the outside of the power box. We have completed the setup process and you are now ready to run your pump system. Thank you for watching.